Hey guys, done so many videos on different camouflage patterns and stuff, and still have some more to do. And I got to thinking that I wanted to offer a couple of thoughts, just due to other YouTube videos that I've seen, comments that I've read on forums and stuff like that, that prompted me to want to share these thoughts with you, okay? Because a lot of people might not know this or might not even think about it. I know we talk a lot about camo patterns, like I said. Pointedly just trying to share stuff with you guys that you might not otherwise know or have access to or see or think about or whatever. But when you're choosing a camouflage pattern for your personal preparedness use, there's some things to keep in mind. There is no camouflage pattern that's going to make you disappear and be invisible, okay? So stop trying to even think like that ahead of time. I often think that too many people get it in their head, oh, they want to find the best camo pattern and it's going to make them invisible and disappear. Camouflage doesn't work that way. There is no best camouflage pattern. I see people comment on forums and stuff all the time and on YouTube, oh, such and such pattern is way better than XYZ pattern or whatever. Says who? Different patterns work better in different areas. That's why you hear me say all the time, find the one that works the best in your area. But don't go off of what someone else's comments are on YouTube, forums, wherever. Because most of the time, I find people don't give the context of what they're saying, oh, this is the best pattern. It works way better than whatever. They don't give the context of where they're coming from to make that statement. What kind of terrain they're in, what they're doing, their geographic location, etc., etc. So try to ignore all that. Look at the patterns yourself and make your own decision, okay? Also, try not to think so much in terms of, I'm in the woods, so I need a green pattern. Well, not necessarily, okay? A lot of times browns and tans and other colors work as good and sometimes better. You gotta be open-minded about it and try different things. As far as camouflage patterns themselves, not any particular pattern, but just in general, okay? Keep in mind that most camouflage patterns on clothing, uniforms, equipment, that sort of thing, it has limitations and boundaries, okay? Most patterns are going to be made to work at close to medium range distances. In other words, take for example the scorpion pattern that I've got on right now. It's more of a close to medium range camouflage. Now, close meaning, 15, 20 yards maybe. Medium range being, 100 to 200 yards maybe. If you're 5 feet from someone, it won't matter what they're wearing. You're most likely gonna see them, okay? Exceptions, obviously, but just generally speaking. Camouflage patterns work at those close to medium ranges, most of them, because they break up the silhouette of whatever they're on. And in a case of clothing of a human being, they make it so that the human eye has a harder time distinguishing that it's a human being that it's looking at. Someone might still see you, but their brain won't process that they're looking at another human. Their brain processes it as being part of the environment or background. Now, Once you start getting out to further distances, camouflage patterns that work at close and medium range don't work the same way at distance. At distance, these finer patterns is all going to turn into one solid color, okay, one solid blob. It's not going to look the same 300 yards away as it does 100 yards away, okay? So the catch is, find something that works reasonably well up close for you, but then also look at something at distance. Because ideally you want distance as your friend, right? You want to be as far away from an adversary as possible, knowing that you're going to probably look like a solid color. But look at the terrain that you're in and try to get a pattern that at distance, if you're in a dark environment, it'll kind of turn to a darker color. If you're in a lighter environment, it'll turn to a lighter color. Whatever its solid color is that it kind of looks like at distance, you want that to kind of match the background of your environment. So at distance in a more open area, you might want a brighter color. At distance in a denser, darker area, you're going to want a darker color, okay? So just keep that in mind, that a pattern's not going to look like a pattern if it's not designed to at distance. In order for a pattern to still have that breakup effect and not turn into a quote-unquote solid color at distance, the pattern has to be opened up into larger shapes. You wouldn't have all these little small shapes. You'd have much larger blobs of shape for it to do the same thing the further away. Problem is, those big large blobs of shape up closer lose their effectiveness, because then it looks like larger blobs. So there's a trade-off. If it works at distance, it's probably not going to work that well up close. If it works up close, it's not going to have the same effect at distance. It's a balancing act. It's a juggling act. You've got to just find what's going to work right for you. So keep that in mind when you're looking at camouflage patterns, and keep in mind where people are coming from. Far too many people on the internet throw in their personal opinions of what they like because it's popular, or they think it looks cool, or because maybe a certain military unit's using it, or whatever. People will pontificate all day long telling you why such and such a pattern is the best or the greatest one, and a lot of times they have no real basis to base that on, okay? They're just saying it because they think it's cooler for all those reasons that I mentioned. So keep that in the back of your head, you know, caveat emptor and all that when you're looking at other people's comments on stuff. Like you've heard me say repeatedly, take my word with a grain of salt. I try my best to show you and demonstrate to you the different patterns and stuff that I like and explain why I like them. But I'll always tell you, just because it works in my environment or I like it, doesn't mean it's going to be the best for your environment. It might not work at all where you're at. Something that works where you're at might not work that well where I'm at. So again, keep all that in mind, and happy camo shopping when it comes to looking at your patterns for yourself, for your family, for your preparedness group, whatever. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Not going to ramble on forever, just a quick little pontificating thought. It's a nice day outside, so I thought I'd come out here and get a couple of things done and just ramble on a little bit. So ramble number 1 done. You guys enjoy your day, and we'll be back again.